Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Gabriel Santos from gfsantos.com, and today I'm going to talk about the topic of how to master the craving to smoke weed. So, if you're watching this, my assumption is that you are someone who obviously wants to master the craving to smoke weed, and you have some reason to. And it might be the case that you are someone who has trouble with the cravings. You might be years into maybe what you would call addiction or dependency, or maybe you've just kind of discovered, like, hey, I like to smoke weed, and lately I've been doing it a little too much, and the cravings have me kind of in control, so to speak. Maybe. In other case, you want to learn how to master it, okay? So, really, what I want to clear up is that despite the fact that weed is a substance and it has chemicals and things like that, the skill of mastering the craving to smoke weed, or rather acting in the way that you want to act, rather taking action in the way you want to take action despite thoughts and emotions that pull you to smoke weed. Okay? So, for example, what that looks like is if your plan was, hey, today I'm not going to smoke weed, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to study, or I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to, make 7 sales, whatever, that despite whatever comes up in your mind, whether it's a thought that says, fuck, I just want to smoke some weed today, that'd be the dopest thing ever, and these emotions that say, like whether you're anxious or you're stressed or you just want to have some fun, that despite those things, you still go to the gym and you still do whatever else you said you were going to do, and you don't smoke. Okay? That's essentially what we're looking after here. So, as far as this topic goes, just to let you guys know, I used to smoke weed every day for 8 years. And it got to the point where I felt like I had no control. That it's almost like there was this like thing inside of me that like survived off of getting high, and every day I had to get stoned no matter what. And it got to the point where even if I said I wasn't gonna smoke that day, like I did it within an hour. So when it gets to that point, you feel kind of stuck and trapped, like you have no sense of self-control. And that's kind of scary. And this video is meant to help you really understand that it's possible to master the craving to smoke weed, even if it's something that you feel has a lot of power over you. So the first question we want to ask ourselves is, how do you master anything, right? Think of something that you were once not good at all, and now you're really good at, like at a basic level, tying your shoes or walking or using a fork, right? When you're a baby and you're learning to or you're learning to walk, you suck at it, right? Like, you suck, you fall, you can't even stand up, for crying out loud. But the way that you get better is you train, essentially. You keep getting up, you keep trying to walk, and you keep failing, but you keep trying, and you get better. And then eventually you perfect the process of walking, right? And so at a higher level, for example, for me, like at one point, I wasn't good at playing Call of Duty, right? When I first started playing Call of Duty in high school, I sucked at it. I would get killed right away. My kill to death ratio was like, for every 10 times I died, I got 1 kill, right? And then eventually, over some time, I was getting 30 kills and 5 deaths, or 20 kills and 7 deaths, so I got better. But I only got better because I kept training, and I kept failing. I sucked, but then I got better and I looked up strategies. So that's pretty much the basic process. And along with that, what you have to do is allow yourself some time, so don't expect yourself, when it comes to, mastering the craving to smoke weed, don't expect yourself to all of a sudden have this impenetrable will and sense of certainty that, you know what, I'm not going to smoke today. Like expect that if you suck at cravings, if you suck at saying no to cravings, that at first, like, it's going to be shitty. And that you may not even be able to follow through at first, okay? But the key is you got to learn. You got to learn from your situation. You got to research strategies that work for other people. Okay? So you have time. You need to allow yourself time to get good at this. 2, you need a working strategy. So whether you find out what works for you or you adopt some strategies from other people like me, okay, that's the second thing. And then 3, over time, with your experience of this, you come to know what to expect. Okay, so let's go with the video game example, or let's think of another example. Let me ask you. So think of a situation that you are just a pro at. Like, you know what to expect. You've done this 1,000 times. You know, I'm trying to think of one. Let's say let's say your drive to school or your drive to work. You know exactly what routes to take. You know exactly at what parts of the drive that certain people, that haven't done the drive a lot, they might switch lanes last minute because they don't get that lane turns into a right turn only, right? So you get that a lot of people might cut you off last minute, so you anticipate that. So that's really the key. Over time, when you have a lot of experience with cravings, you learn to anticipate things about yourself and the situations that you come across that sometimes had you fail in the past. Like for me, in the past, if I know that when I say that, I'm not smoking this week, that inevitably at some point someone is gonna offer me some. That's just gonna happen, and the working strategy at that point is either to avoid that person or that situation, or just learn that I'm gonna have to say no. I'm gonna have to say no to someone at some point, and that's just it. Like, expect it. If you go back to the video game example, if you ever played like a campaign, let's say Halo or Call of Duty or whatever, Fortnite, I don't know, like the levels are the same. At 1 minute into the level, this guy comes from the left side and he shoots you from the top of the roof. And then 2 minutes in, these dogs come. Like, so you can anticipate it. And maybe the first time you tried that level, you died. But the second time, you know it's coming. So you're like, okay, right? So expect to fail, but just understand that it's on you to learn, what had you fail, and then to anticipate it next time and to try something different. And look, you might fail again, okay? But you get better. You get quicker at realizing what's happening, and then you get quicker at making the right decision, okay? And then I'd say that the last and equally as important thing is maintaining what's called an enthusiastic desire to keep trying until you succeed, right? So, if you were playing a video game for the first time, would you expect yourself to like complete the whole game without dying? No, of course not. You expect to die 1,000 times, actually. And it's the fact that you can keep trying that kind of keeps you motivated. Because imagine if you bought a video game and you played the campaign level and you can only try it once and there's no redos. Yeah, that's too hard. Not to say that people wouldn't do that, but like, that's just too much pressure. And so what I can encourage you to consider is that when it comes to weed cravings, you have an unlimited amount of lives. There is no pressure. You don't have to get it done all in one day. You don't have to become this perfect person that all of a sudden overnight you have developed this insane will and insane like mental fortitude to say no. You might, and that'd be great. But if you're watching this video, probably not, right? So in terms of a working strategy, in my experience, for me, What's typical for me is if I smoke weed, several days back to back, and I decide that, you know what, on the fourth day, I'm done, like I'm not going to smoke for a little bit because I don't want to, I can still expect to have these thoughts and emotions that say, like, dang, like I just want to get stoned right now. Like that would just be the dopest thing in the world. Really, like I'll have those thoughts and I will have those thoughts. But this is the key. I made a commitment that I wasn't going to do it. And so even though I have those thoughts and there's nothing inherently wrong with smoking, I made a decision pre-hand at a different time when I was at a different place that, you know what, there's a reason why I'm not going to smoke today, that I chose not to smoke today. And so, despite having those thoughts, because of my experience, I know that I'm going to have those thoughts. I know that I'm going to want to smoke, even though I said I'm not going to. And so, the key is to know that despite your wants and your thoughts and emotions, the key is to still stick to the plan. Like Big Sean says in his song, stick to the plan, right? Stick to the plan. And so instead of those thoughts and emotions taking over you and having control, something much deeper is running the show. Okay. And so despite having those thoughts, I just realized like I don't literally don't take those thoughts seriously and I'm just like, "Oh, that's funny." Like it's just a thought. It's not personal, it's not real even, and that's a deeper topic for another day. But I just know to expect that just over the years because I don't know how many times I said I'm done with weed for good, and then in 3 hours I was smoking like three joints. Okay. And it's depressing. I'm not going to lie. It is very defeating, self defeating when you just can't follow through. And my opinion is it's either the thoughts and emotions or some kind of, I don't know, outside force that like, tempts you. Okay. But my whole point is so you're going to learn and realize like what are these situations that influence me to smoke weed against my plans. Okay, it might be thoughts, it might be boredom, it might be shit, I don't know. And that's another thing. For me personally, the first couple days, like, dude, if you've been smoking weed every day for years, like that shit's gonna blow. Like the first week when you're not smoking weed is gonna blow. That's my opinion at least. Just because your body and brain are so used to it and you have this identity that's like dependent on being high. So those first couple days to a week are really gonna blow. And because I know personally that they're gonna blow, I don't take it like my success is just in not doing it, really. Like I don't have to take on anything else other than just like, just not doing it. Okay. I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to make $1 million tomorrow. I don't need to start a whole fitness journey. I don't need, because it's overwhelming. Okay. Um, what else? How to master the craving to smoke weed. Hmm. So I pretty much, I gave you the process already. I gave you some working strategies. I would say at the core of it is just realizing that because you're someone who smoked so much weed every day for a long time, that's my assumption at least, that there's gonna be a part of your brain and your body that's gonna like demand that you smoke weed, even if 10 hours ago you made this serious declaration to yourself that you were not going to smoke. That's just what's going to happen. Swear to God. And so expect that. Expect thoughts and emotions that go against your plans. Expect it. And in fact, have a plan or have a strategy to deal with the fact that you are gonna want to smoke still. You're just gonna want to. So I don't care if you distract yourself from the thoughts in a healthy way. Just know that that's gonna be there. All right. And if you can, with self-awareness, if you can, when those thoughts and emotions come up, see if you can become aware of those thoughts and recognize that they're just thoughts and they're not real. If you can do that, you have mastered the cravings to smoke weed. Straight up. And if you're wondering, I just have to be transparent. So, just about 30 minutes ago, I had a couple beers with my parents. Me and my dad and a couple of my uncles, we played golf for Father's Day. And a ritual we have is after we play golf, we have drinks. And so I had a couple beers. And so if you think, I don't know, if you feel like it's some kind of energy from me, or maybe I look a little like, I don't know, that's why. Um, but yeah, I hope that doesn't detract anything from the video. Um, but yeah, so other than those practical stuff, I really acknowledge and admire that you are taking action when it comes to this part of your life, and that there's a part of you who's very serious about making a change. And I also acknowledge that part of you has a little trouble with the cravings, and that's understandable. The cravings can be very powerful. Sorry for the blurriness. The cravings can be very powerful, um, and they're hard to deal with, especially if you're someone who has a history of saying yes to cravings when really you wish you said no. Um, And so at the end of the day, you're just training yourself to say no when it's time to say no, even if you feel the urge to say yes. And it's a skill, and you'll develop it. But right now, if you're someone who said yes a lot when you meant to say no, then well, you're gonna suck, and it's gonna hurt. It's just like when you do push-ups. When you first start doing push-ups, you can only do like 3, but you gotta train. You got to train, and eventually you can do 4, then 5, then 30, then 37, so yeah, it's a learning process, it's a growing process, and it all has to do with your willingness to keep getting better. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you listening to a fucking dude like me talk for 18 plus minutes. I hope that these videos help you. I remember what it's like to be trapped in addiction and how shitty it is. My intention is to help free as many people as I can from feeling stuck and ashamed of the way that they use weed, and instead replace it with joy and happiness and healthy pot use, and a fulfilled life and a successful life with whatever that looks like to you. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Gabriel Santos, gfsantos.com. And if you made it to this part of the video and you are someone who struggles with weed use and wants control of their life and their pot use, I highly recommend you go and buy my book, Marijuana Mindfulness. It's on Amazon. It's only $10. And I get $7 from that transaction. So you'd be helping me out. You get the answers that you want. And it would be overall a win-win situation for everyone. All right, cool, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.